So if you're like me, I'm pretty sure you've reached that age where you feel like you need to bring about some positive changes in your life. Now, whether it's working on your physique, getting better grades, or just overall self-improvement, you constantly have this urge to excel and move up in life. Ever since I turned 20 years old, I've always thought about improving myself, but I never really took the steps to actually improve myself. Because I kept on thinking that, if life is just suffering and all of us are gonna eventually die, then why should I even bother improving myself?
What could you do to improve yourself? Well, let's step one step backwards. The first question might be, why should you even bother improving yourself? And I think the answer to that is something like, so you don't suffer any more stupidly than you have to. And maybe so others don't have to either. It's something like that. Like there's a real injunction at the bottom of it. It's not some casual self-help doctrine. It's that if you don't organize yourself properly, you'll pay for it, and in a big way, and so will the people around you. Now, and you could say, well, I don't care about that, but that's actually not true. You actually do care about that, because if you're in pain, you will care about it. And so you do care about it, even if it's just that negative way,
That was a really eye-opening statement by Bernt Peterson, and that really got me thinking, what if all of us actually got disciplined about something? What if we actually, stopped wasting time? What if we actually got our act together? Our potential would be skyrocketing at that point. I think an essential part of being a young adult is that your top priority is that I have to get my life together. And you're always kind of questioning whether or not you're doing enough, or are you really, putting in the efforts to actually get your life together.
Allow for the possibility that you have something important to contribute to the world, and that the world would be a lesser place without that contribution.
Now, as someone who's always been questioning throughout his entire life that am I enough, that was such a beautiful statement, because if you think about it, all of us really do have an important contribution to make in this world. You're important to people. Your contribution is important to this world. So do the world a favor, and instead of questioning yourself every single day, go out there and make that contribution. So that's what I like about Bernt Peterson, is that a lot of his advice is practical and you can actually implement it in your own life and you can actually be a better person. So without wasting any more time, let's discuss some of these points.
Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. You need to have a hierarchy of improvement. You need to be aiming for something, and that means you're going to be lesser than people who've already attained along that dimension.
Yes.
And that can give rise to envy. So the question is, who should you defeat in the final analysis? And the answer is, you should defeat your former self. You should be constantly trying to do that. And you're the right control for yourself too, because you're the one who's had all your advantages and disadvantages. And so if you want to compete fairly with someone, then you should be competing with you.
Now, it's another thing to idolize someone, but when you compare yourself to other people, it can get kind of demoralizing. Especially in today's times where, social media apps, you go onto such apps like Instagram and you see all these people who have perfect lives and they're just winning at life, and, they have much more things to do and they have like a very interesting life. When you see these people out and about living life, it kind of gets, like I said, demoralizing. So, and you tend to compare yourself to other people, and that gives rise to envy. So you have to understand that you're not competing with these people that you're comparing yourself to. Instead, you should compare yourself to the person you were yesterday, because every day is an opportunity to be better than the person you were yesterday. So your goal today is, if yesterday you were someone who was unproductive, you woke up late, or you ate a lot of junk food, or you didn't really care about, taking care of yourself, your goal today is, how can I be better than that person? And in the long run, you have to beat the person who you were yesterday. And that's how self-improvement is done.
How about a career that puts you in a dominance hierarchy somewhere, So at least you've got some possibility of rising, some possibility of stabilizing yourself, and a schedule and a routine, because no one can live without a routine. You just forget that. If you guys don't have a routine, I would recommend, like, you get one going, because you cannot be mentally healthy without a routine. You need to pick a time to get up. Whatever time you want, but pick one and stick to it, because otherwise you dysregulate your circadian rhythms and they regulate your mood. And eat something in the morning.
A lot of people tend to associate routines and schedules with productivity. While it's true that you should follow a schedule which allows you to be the most productive, what people tend to forget is that how schedules keep us mentally stable.
It's unbelievable the degree to which our sanity depends on a functioning sociological structure. And here's why. Well, first of all, you kind of need to know what to do every day. You have to have a routine, because you're an animal. You can overdo it, right? But still, you need to know approximately when you should get up. It should be approximately the same every day. You need to know approximately when you're going to eat. You need to know what you're going to eat. You need to know who you're going to eat with. You need to know where to buy your food. It's like 80% of your life, 70% of your life, something like that, consists of those things that you do every single day, that you repeat.
I truly believe that following the same routine every day will help bring some order and stability in your life. Because if you think about it, since the time we were children in school, we followed a routine. We had a specific time to get up, a specific time to report to school, a specific time to eat lunch, and a specific time to go home. But what usually happens is that once we fall out of this habit of following a routine and we move up in the real world, such as college or work, instead of following a routine, we tend to finish our work at random times or whenever we have free time. And I truly believe that, this habit brings chaos in our life.
Well, I think what I've recommended to people is clean up your room. That's a good start. Organize your local landscape. Schedule your time. Start taking control of yourself. See if you can stop saying things you know to be lies. That's not the same as telling the truth. You don't get to do that to begin with, because you're not good enough at it to even attempt it in some sense. But everyone can stop saying things they know to be falsehoods.
Now, if your room is disorganized, it's chaotic, it's messy, of course that's gonna affect your mood drastically and you're gonna feel low. So if you want to bring order in your life, I think you should start by cleaning your room. You should make it a place which allows you to be more organized, more disciplined, and more productive as well.
Specify your damn goals, because how are you going to hit something if you don't know what it is? That isn't going to happen. And often people won't specify their goals too, because they don't like to specify conditions for failure. So if you keep yourself all vague and foggy, which is real easy, because that's just a matter of not doing as well, then you don't know when you fail. And people might say, well, I really don't want to know when I fail because that's painful. So I'll keep myself blind about when I fail. That's fine, except you'll fail all the time then. You just won't know it until you've failed so badly that you're done. And that can easily happen by the time you're 40. So I would recommend that you don't let that happen. So that's willful blindness, right? You could have known, but you chose not to.
I think you should specify your long-term goals and your short-term goals. And you should actually put it out there. Like, you should write down your goals on a piece of paper. Or it's cool if you write it down on your phone as well. The thing is, if you actually put it out there, you'll be more responsible towards yourself and you'll actually keep yourself accountable for that, which makes you more likely to go out there and actually reach your goal.
Well, my experience with people has been is if they figure out what it is that would be good for them, and then they aim at it, then they get it. It's a strange thing. It's not quite that simple, because you may formulate an idea about what would be good for you, and then you take 10 steps towards that, and you find out that your formulation was a bit off, and so you have to reformulate your goal. But a huge part of the reason that people fail is because they don't ever set up the criteria for success. And so, since success is a very narrow line and very unlikely, the probability that you're going to stumble on it randomly is zero. If you actually want something, you can have it. Now the question then would be, well, what do you mean by actually want? And the answer is that you reorient your life in every possible way to make the probability that that will occur as certain as possible.
If you actually want something and you actually desire something, you should make the appropriate changes in your lifestyle to make sure what you're aiming for happens as certain as possible.
Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace and love.